Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully alive. Welcome, CEOs. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Solution Saturdays, Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock p.m. I am Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcome. Today's topic, 3 life coaching motivational tips to reach your goals. Let me repeat the topic. 3 life coach motivational tips to reach your goals. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and leave a comment. You can hit the StreamYard link and YouTube if you want to come up. What does that entail? You hit the link, we can have a conversation in real time. Maybe you have something on your mind. Maybe you want to add your thoughts, comment, or question on today's topic. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. If you hit the link in YouTube, it will allow you to come up, be on video, have a conversation with me. And you can find me at Coach B dash the CEO. So today's topic is 3 life coach motivation. Oh, I gotta slow down. 3 life coach motivating tips to reach your goals. 3 life coach motivation motive. Ha! I feel like I'm getting tongue tied. Let me just say that. I feel like I'm getting tongue tied. 3 life coach motivating tips to reach your goal. For some reason or another, it sounds like or feels like a tongue twister to me, but that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear with today's topic. I wanted to give you 3 tips about reaching. When you see me move over like that, that is because I am working with another monitor and I'm adjusting something. So, here are 3 motivational, right, or motivating tips to reaching your goal. One would be journal. Do a journal brain dump. You might say, Coach B, what is a brain dump? Some people call it freestyle writing, where you have paper, pen, pencil. And in some cases, some people like to type. So maybe you're typing in a Word document or Google Doc, whatever type of document. And what you're doing is allowing all of your thoughts to run freely without interruption. So when you're writing or typing, you're not editing. You're not looking for grammar, you're not looking for spelling. You want to try to write it as neat as possible because you're going to go back to review it at a later date. But the first thing we want to do when reaching our goals is to do what? To journal. Don't even write the goal down yet. You have a thought, you have something that you want to accomplish. Journal. Do a brain dump. Get all of the information out of your head. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to free up space. We want to free up space so that we can do what? Fill the space with more concrete ideas and steps. So, yeah, go have fun. Make the space for creation. You have something in mind, we want to write it out. And it may look a little jumbled at first because it's a brain dump. We have thousands of thoughts going on every day about any given topic. So in the journal, it might include your fear, it might include what the actual goal is. It might look like the resources to reaching that goal. I see there's an observer out there. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Saturday Solutions. My name is Coach B. So one, it may include your fears. It may include the goal, the actual goal. It may include what you anticipate may or may not happen. And so when you're doing the brain dump, what happens, it generates more ideas. It generates more ideas. So as you're writing, you're free flowing, you're freestyling, you're writing, and more thoughts, more ideas are coming up, and you're capturing it in real time. You're capturing these thoughts in real time. Again, we're not worried about grammar. We're not worrying about spelling. We want the penmanship to be somewhat decent. So when you go back to review it at a later date, you can read your own handwriting. If you're typing, it makes it a little bit easier. But some of us are not speed typists, so writing may do the job. So the first thing that we want to do is what? We want to free our mind of all the thoughts that are in our head around the goal. The second thing we want to do, the second thing we want to do is set a milestone date. When do you want to have this goal, the objectives? When do you want? What's the target date to have this thing completed? Feel free to take time and visualize and use your imagination and think about what would this feel like if this goal is reached, if this milestone is met, that you would close your eyes and get in touch with what it feels like, what it sounds like, and what it looks like to actually reach the milestone. Now, notice I'm using the word milestone. Why am I using the word milestone? Because we want to take it step by step. We're not going to accomplish the whole goal in one swoop. It's going to be little bitty steps at a time. Some steps may be bigger or greater than other steps, but nonetheless, you still have to do it piece by piece. So why not just close your eyes and let your imagination run free? What would it feel like if I actually opened that business that I've been thinking about? What would it feel like when I get my first client? What would it feel like and when I actually scale the business? What would it sound like? What would it feel like? What would it sound like? What would it look like? And try to be as vivid as possible. Why do we want to incorporate visualization into this goal setting process? Because we want to attach the emotions with the goal. So I don't know if you remember as a child, you were playing and you won. You were playing a game and you won. And you were so excited about winning. Not saying that you were so excited that you weren't a good sportsman person, meaning that even though you won, you were polite to the person that didn't win. You didn't try to rub it in. You weren't what we call a sore winner. Somebody, oh, I won, I won, I won. Later for you. Not like that. Not like that. But in the moment, you actually took in the moment. Maybe you cried, maybe you jumped up from joy, maybe you screamed out loud, maybe you had some kind of outburst. Oh wow, I can't believe it, I did it. Whatever the emotional response was, it came freely when we were children. And as adults, we want to tap into that emotional feeling, that sense of accomplishment. We want to tap in to that sense of accomplishment. So I got a date, the date has arrived, and I actually accomplished what I set out to accomplish. And I feel great about it. I feel excited about it. I'm exhilarated about it. I did it. Yes, I did it. We want to bring that emotion into the process of reaching our goal. We want the emotions to go with the goal. The emotions to go with the goal. So the visualization helps us to do what? One, to picture what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to sound like. I'll give you an example. I ran a marathon a few years ago, and I've talked about this before, but I was proud of myself. I was in my 50s um, when I ran this marathon, and I had never run a marathon before. So I did the training, I did the recommendations that were given to me, how to eat, how to train, X, Y, and Z. And when the day of the marathon came, the time that I actually ran it, I can remember just being out in Staten Island where they have everybody gather at for the takeoff point. And I was out there and it was a lot, I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people. A lot of people run the marathon, right? And when you run a marathon, everybody has a time that they kind of get to the starting line to take off to run in their group because everybody cannot run the marathon at the same time, right? It would be chaotic. So when you're at the base, I'm looking around. People are out there stretching, they're doing their thing, they're getting in shape, they're taking off layers because, it's getting time to go to the start line. And people are excited. The energy is high. And I'm telling you, I was loving it. Just the mere fact that I actually made it as a applicant, an entry level person to run the marathon. That was a dream of mine. And so I'm at the starting line and they say, okay, you may start your run, whatever they say to get the runners moving. And I remember going over the Verrazano Bridge. And if you're from New York, you can only drive across the Verrazano Bridge. It's not like the Brooklyn Bridge, um, the Manhattan Bridge, where you can actually walk across those bridges. The Verrazano Bridge, there's no, you can walk across it if there's something, an emergency happens, you can walk across it. But they don't have a pedestrian walkway where you could actually walk across the bridge. So I had never been on that bridge on foot. And I remember just running across the bridge and taking in the sight, taking in the scenery, just taking in everything. I'm running a marathon. The first 2 or 3 miles are in Staten Island, and the race starts at the foot, a little bit before the Verrazano Bridge, right? Maybe you're a half a mile out, and then you hit the Verrazano Bridge. And I'm on the bridge. All these people are running, and I'm taking it in. It was beyond my wildest dreams. I took it all in. So I ran the marathon. I completed the marathon in good timing. And I remember when I finished, I was tired. Ooh, boy, was I tired when I finished. But I can remember feeling like a sense of accomplishment. That at my age, at that time, I had ran my very first marathon. Now that's the big picture, but the milestones were the weekly training. Was I able to do a mile this week? Was I able to do a mile and a half another week? Was I able to run without stopping? Was I able to slow down and then pick back up my pace? The endurance runs, the strength runs, the straight runs, slow pace, my fast pace. And every time I accomplished those things, I felt great because I didn't know what my body could really do. And it's the same thing with every other goal. Sometimes we don't really know what we can accomplish until we're actually doing it. So, yeah, set a milestone. How many days out of the week do you need to work on this? What would it look like, the finished product? What would it feel like for you when you accomplish it? Not only would it feel like, what would it look like? What would it sound like? For me, running a marathon and people along the way, when you're running through the 5 boroughs, people are out there clapping and applauding, yelling and screaming and cheering you on. And I can remember when I was in practice and training for the marathon, I would run across the 59th Street Bridge as a part of one of my routes for practicing to run the marathon. And I could remember coming across the bridge. I would have it in my mind. People are clapping, clapping, clapping when you get off the bridge on the other side and you're actually on First Avenue. People would be out there clapping for me. So this is what I was visualizing in my practice and my training, that people would be clapping, yelling, and screaming. So when I was actually out there running the marathon and I actually heard the clap and I actually heard the scream, it gave me more motivation. I was like, yeah, just like I envisioned, just like I imagined, like I heard the sounds. I felt the experience. So we want to tie our emotions to the goal. And thirdly, right? So one, the first thing we want to do is a brain dump. We want to get all that information out. Just keep writing, freestyle, write it out, write it out, write it out. Have fun. Just write, 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 write. Just get a book. Keep writing, keep writing. Don't scratch nothing now. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. This is not about grammar. And then two, we want to visualize what this thing is actually going to feel like. What's going to sound like. What is it going to look like when we accomplish? Notice what I'm saying, the milestone, not necessarily the total goal, but the milestone, the small steps, because we want to celebrate as we move along. And then lastly, the third thing, monitor your progress. Why is that important? Am I staying on track? Did I deviate a little bit? Did I get distracted? Did something happen? Because it will happen. Did something happen that was unplanned for? Something that you did not calculate, but it happened anyway. And now you have to pivot and deal with that. Monitoring your progress is really important. Now, you can choose how often you want to do it. Do you want to do it weekly? Do you want to do it monthly? Do you want to do it quarterly? Do you want to do it biannually? How often do you want to monitor your progress in meeting those milestones and or the actual goal? This is really important to monitor it. Monitor to monitor it. I'm getting tongue tied again. To monitor it, right? Because guess what? Things are going to happen. Woo, I got stories to tell you. Things are going to happen that will throw a monkey wrench into your progress. Things are going to happen. If I go back to the marathon, I can remember days they said, listen, the weather's going to be beautiful. Go out there, I'm running, and boom, it's getting ready to rain. I don't have on the right gear for the rain, but it's getting ready to rain. Maybe some rain droplets come down. Now I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna have squeaky sneakers and squeaky feet, and that is not a good feeling. Running in wet sneakers and socks is not a good feeling, right? And then in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't get blisters from the friction and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, some things can happen. And depending on what the goal is, again, depending on what the goal is, anything could happen at any time. And then you have to find a way to pivot to get yourself what? Back on track, because these things will occur. And to that end, please, when you do pivot to get back on track, or maybe make an adjustment to maybe do it a little differently, give yourself ample time. Give yourself ample time to do what? Give yourself ample time to actually to make the adjustment for the pivot. So what can happen a lot of times, I'm sorry, uh, what can happen a lot of times, what can happen is people, something will throw them off course. They can't find their way back. They don't know how they got there. And then when they do look back to the goal, so much time has elapsed between, because they didn't figure out how to pivot and get back on track. And one of the reasons for that is what I was talking about earlier. They weren't monitoring their progress. So they don't know where they were, they don't know where to pick back up, and they don't know how to get back on track. So when we're monitoring our progress towards the milestone, it serves a few purposes. One, yes, we get a chance to celebrate. Yes, whoo, I'm hitting my targets. Yes, it's a great thing. But the other thing is, it tells you where you are, where you came from, and if you needed to pivot, where to do so, where to do so, and how to do so. Because now you have a reference point of all the steps that you have taken to get to point A or point B or point C. And in that is what? It's informative and it's directional. Informative meaning it'll show you what you did. And then if you want to stay that path because you got the results that you wanted to get, then it's directional. Oh, let me stay this path and keep moving forward. Or if I have to pivot, let me take A out, but let me continue on path B. So, what are the three things again? The three things are, in review, three things, right? Three life coach motivational tips. Two, right? Two, reach your goal. Number one, do a brain dump. Do the journal. Brain dump, get everything out of your head. Again, this is not an English contest. We're not looking at grammar or anything like that. But we do want you to have decent penmanship, because you got to go back and read it and then and do what? Sift all of that information out. And then number two, set milestones and celebrate them. And three, monitor your progress regularly, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whichever way you choose. But please monitor your progress, because it is loaded. It is loaded with information that you can utilize, if you need to pivot. So I want to thank you for spending time with me this Saturday, Solution Saturdays, Eastern Standard Time at 6 p.m. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and leave a comment. And I'll see you next Saturday. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being with me.